How's it going, everyone? This is Mike. Welcome back to my channel, and we are doing another chat topic for the movie collecting and critical community. Um, this one is from our friend Ian, All Things Film, and he asks two questions. The first one is, have we forgotten how to enjoy the movies? And the follow-up is, have we lost movie magic? And I guess that's in regard to, because we become so sophisticated about special effects, things that we've seen many, many times, and we understand how they're made, how they're done, and we're not that impressed anymore. Okay, well, for me, the answer to the first question is definitely no. I have not forgotten how to enjoy the movies. And that goes for what I see on the big screen or in my classes, and also what I watch at home. I can still be surprised. I can still be very moved. For example, just last night, I watched this movie at home. Well, of course, it's at home. Hail the Conquering Hero. This is a Preston Sturges film from 1944, starring Eddie Bracken, Ella Raines, and William Demarest. Now, I think I may have seen this way back when I was a kid in the mid-'60s, but I'm not sure. I didn't remember anything about it, so I may not have seen it. But it was just wonderful. It was hilarious all the way through it. And then right at the end, like a lot of Preston Sturges films, it got very melodramatic and very patriotic right at the end. And I'll say it, I actually started crying. I couldn't help it. And this is a movie about World War II. It has nothing to do with me or my experience of life. And it was just very, very moving. And I just thought, wow, I'm so glad I finally got around to watching this film. It was wonderful. That happens to me quite a bit. Now, that's not to say that I don't look at films with a fairly critical eye, maybe some more than others. And it doesn't mean that I like every film that I see on the same level. I can appreciate everything as a work of art, but it doesn't mean that I like everything that I see. And but when something is good and it touches my heart, I can really be carried away. So, yeah, I'm very glad. As cynical as I am about life, I can still be moved when I see a film, and can't really explain why. Maybe I'm not as sophisticated as a lot of you out there. I don't look for details and nuances that a lot of critical people do. I don't know. Now, sometimes I go to see a movie because I know it's been classified as not successful. It's a bad film. A lot of critics have trashed it. Recently, I went to see the movie Cats. Now, I saw the stage show 30 odd years ago, maybe 40, I'm not sure, in Chicago. You know, when it was very popular and everybody was going to see Cats. And I remember not being terribly impressed by it. It has some good moments and some beautiful music here and there, but I wasn't just really enthralled with Cats like so many people were. So the movie came out, and I was having a great time reading all the critical responses and all the snarky comments on Twitter about Cats. I mean, it was probably better than the film itself. So I decided, let's go see a really bad movie just to see how bad it can be. So I went with no expectations whatsoever other than seeing a bad movie. And it didn't disappoint, although I thought that it got better in the second half when Judi Dench showed up. I thought that she brought a lot of heart to the film, and some of the music I actually liked. So yeah, I went with that, but even so, it wasn't a wasted afternoon. I didn't mind spending $8.50 to see something that I knew I was going to be reasonably disappointed with, and so I saw another movie. I think it was last year. A movie called Where Did You Go, Bernadette, starring Kate Blanchett. Not a terribly well-known film, but the reason I went to see it is because my local film critic, who also teaches my film classes, trashed it. Said it was a really bad film, and I thought, okay, I love Kate Blanchett. Let's go see her in a really bad film. That'll be an interesting experience. So I did go to see that, again with expectations of seeing something probably pretty bad. And it turned out to be a mixed bag. It was not great, but it wasn't as terrible as obviously the critic thought that it was. So sometimes I can even be surprised there. Now, the second part of the film, or the question, have we lost movie magic? Well, that hasn't necessarily happened for me because, and it may be because I don't go to see all of the superhero films, all of the space films, the Star Wars films, where I am just sort of overindulged by special effects, and maybe I start to be a little more critical about things. And the last special effects laden film that I saw was Ad Astra, the science fiction movie starring Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones, and I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. I wasn't so dazzled by the special effects that I didn't see it as a very human story, a story of father and son, all sorts of angles. Yeah, I was very, very impressed by it. And the special effects were good. I guess I just kind of took them for granted. So it doesn't matter to me if something is done in front of a green screen and all that sort of thing. In the movie Cats, I think they spent 90% of their budget on CGI to create everything in the background and all these sets and the costumes that the actors were wearing. And I think they wasted their money, quite frankly. But when it comes to looking at commentaries on, let's say, some of the Star Trek films where they just give detail after detail about how things are done and what they use to make this and to create this illusion, I can watch some of that stuff, but quite frankly, I'm not that interested that I just want to know every detail. And maybe that's why the actual story, the movie itself, comes alive for me and remains enjoyable. So I guess that's really all I want to say. Harry Benson mentioned his video that I watched tonight when he went to see Bohemian Rhapsody, because he's a very big fan of Queen. He found himself during the course of the film checking the timeline, because I guess they were mixing a lot of things up the way they happen in the movie as opposed to the way they happen in real life. And I wouldn't know about this stuff because I never followed Queen or Freddie Mercury, but Harry said he found himself watching all these details and things like that. And so I guess that now the comparison for me would be the movie Judy, about Judy Garland, which came out this past year with Renee Zellweger as Judy Garland. A film that I liked, wasn't crazy about, thought it had many good things, and I was very critical about it going in because I don't think that anybody could actually be Judy Garland as she was in her own life and her own entertainment life. But I found myself appreciating the way they did the story because I thought that they were very faithful to a lot of the realities of Judy Garland's life and her experience. But I didn't get so overwhelmed with details that I was being critical of it, and I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to enjoy myself. Maybe I just I don't know. It's the same thing with a lot of Star Trek fans. They get all wrapped up in details and whether or not something is considered to be canon. That's a big word among Trekkies. Things always have to be exactly following the Star Trek lore from beginning to end, right? Beginning in 1966 when the first series came on, and has to be. Okay. Well, I guess I've talked way too long here. This is almost 9 minutes. Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and give me your opinions about movie magic, and have you lost the ability to enjoy movies?